We bust out paint and make a big mess and take a big breath cause the air is fresh. Like man, this world here sure is beautiful. Every day, each second to the next, from birth to death, a goddamn miracle. Said the gun poets with their bulletproof vests and the S on their chest like they're coming to rescue you.
Unless you wanna do what the rest do, just be eventful, that's the best move. Cause life can test you, but light is your tool, provided that you are just willing to groove. So thrilling to choose just to be silly and let loose. Let the rhythm infect you. The feeling of heaven in a rhyme resurrects truth, and the ceiling never seems to perplex you.
We dance, we love, we love, we love, we love. Say we dance, we love, we love, we love, we love. Gonna give my love away, while keep it locked away. Wanna sing and laugh and play, wanna dance all night and day.
Man, welcome to it. Yeah, this whole time I thought you knew that the star of this here show is you. The star of this here show is you. Come on, come on, come on, come on.
Welcome. This is an LACS ritual to cherish. It's a moment to be truly grateful, and it is a moment to feel joy. You all are about to launch into an ever-evolving and challenging world. Not too long ago, a group of scholars, journalists, and activists gathered for a conference entitled Othering and Belonging. John Powell, the director of the Haas Institute for a Fair and Inclusive Society, gave a keynote address entitled We the People, Practicing Belonging in a Period of Deep Anxiety. He questioned just who the we is and who the people are in this country's motto, We the People. He poses the concept of bridging instead of breaking, and encourages our collective we to reach beyond ourselves, beyond our families, beyond our communities, and beyond our borders. He believes that we do this by telling the stories of our lives, the narratives that tell our story of optimism, opportunity, and inclusion, and that these stories can work to counteract collective fear and angry populism. So, we will be telling the story of the totality of your LACS lives. You are innovators, musicians, poets, scholars, artists, challengers and dreamers, thinkers and creators. As you listen to your stories, pay attention to the connectedness and love that is here, and carry it with you into your future. We know that you will do great things, love in big ways, and find hope where others can't. This is a moment to cherish. This is a moment to be grateful. Congratulations to the senior class of 2020.
I would like to call Eli Hubbard to the stage. Hi. You, Eli Hubbard, have a mighty curious side. I have followed your lead into a subterranean, even amphibious ramble, your voice weaving into a murmur as you tunnel and catapult through ideas. I remember you in 9th grade asking me incredulously, wait, there are still philosophers? You stayed after class to get whatever answer I could muster. Your happy place, your natural habitat, is one where you investigate, design, assess, simplify, refine, and then take a break. You take a break only for the opportunity to return in your own time, in your own quiet, to look at whatever it is fresh from a new angle. You run with a question fueled by something tapping on your mind, something that won't let you rest. Yes, there are still philosophers. Eli, you are also a son and a brother in a family that has withstood great loss. You landed here delicately in 7th grade, and we grew to hold you in our hearts as you found your voice in places in our school. You carved out a kind home by being yourself and offering up your friendship and fundamental decency. And you understand the nature of it, that a culture of democracy calls on you to interact with others in a certain way. This week I witnessed you recall the way it looks to see real community in action, New Orleans. You blinked a few times and then said, "It's indescribable." I've watched you facilitate a 300-person vote and then gather a group at the whiteboard to draw graphs, geeking out on understanding how we as a community vote as we do. You needed the marker at the board because you understand the necessity of showing your work. You believe any collaboration requires a certain level of etiquette, that you bring to the table the work you have done, and you must show up with nothing less. You are multilingual, and I don't just mean that you worked diligently to earn the New York State seal of biliteracy in Spanish. No small feat, though you made it sound fun. You teach yourself lots for fun. An autodidact of all things curious, your creativity thrives in transferring knowledge from one inquiry to the next. Coding, or web design, or actually building. As an intern for the Blind Spots, you didn't just ride social media. You figured out how to build that rock band a giant glitter eyeball piñata full of balloons. Full of ideas, you lose yourself in what Mihai Csikszentmihalyi calls flow. As you thrive on these projects you just can't put down. Like writing a children's story about whether the glass is half full or half empty in Spanish. Then turning the story into a book with watercolor illustrations. Then making a video narrating a voiceover in Spanish. Then composing and recording an original song as background music. And then formatting it in a way that allowed you to upload it into Oxport. And for that last thing alone, we recognize you as a kid with uncommon perseverance and genius. You stand here at times questioning all that you've inherited and all you observe, and you wonder whether and how it fits. Gentle, sometimes giddy, you evoke James Joyce's protagonist in A Portrait of the Artist as a Young Man when he realizes, "I will tell you what I will do and what I will not do. I will not serve that in which I no longer believe, whether it calls itself my home, my fatherland, or my church. And I will try to express myself in some mode of life or art as freely as I can and as wholly as I can." Having completed high school in just 3 years, you are set to begin a gap year to work and explore before college. Eli, you so appreciate those teachers who would never, ever give you the answer, but instead lay bare the tools and ask the right questions, and you're in luck. Within the limitations and possibilities of our times rest the tools, and there is all the room in the world, such as it is, for your questions and for your tinkering, your quiet musings amid the whirring, and for your heart. Congratulations.
Hi, I'm Sarah T., an English teacher, and I'd like to welcome Zoe Branchini to the stage. So I'm Sarah T., an English teacher, and I've had the pleasure of having Zoe Branchini in my Utopia Dystopia class this year. While I may have really just gotten to know Zoe this year, she has spent the last 7 years at LACS growing into the amazing Zoe that she is today. When we first met, I was a little nervous. The facial expression she gave me sent a signal to my brain that said, "Proceed with caution." She had a funky hairdo, jet black at the time, and lots of metal on her clothing. Her boots clearly stated, "I'm tough." There was also the definite eye roll about chatting with a certain Mr. Will Logan during an ASM. But what I've always believed in about not judging a book by its cover, it's clearly true with Zoe. She may look a little edgy, but she is sweet and extremely funny and quick-witted. Zoe is adored by many kids and adults alike and has a strong positive influence on some of the younger students. I imagine they admire her for her ability to be exactly who she is. I'm sure they, too, appreciate her humor. There are certainly some students whose wardrobes clearly illustrate the influence Zoe has had on them. Plaid, black, rips, lots of pins, and even more safety pins. I didn't know Zoe in the 6th grade, but in looking at her first year evals, I can tell that LACS has always been exactly the right place for Zoe. Her teachers remarked on her hard work and perseverance. They loved her creativity and humor. As a brave 6th grader, she went on a camping trip with Caitlin, who stated that Zoe was great to camp with because she had a great attitude and enjoyed it the whole time. Her love of the outdoors continued to show as Zoe fondly remembers the canoe group trip. She said she loved being able to be outside the whole time. Bronwyn recalls, "She and I swamped a canoe into a strainer on Catatonk Creek because we were too busy talking about the smashing pumpkins to look where we were going." Sounds about right. Bronwyn also adds about Zoe that she is just so sweet. A true original. I would be remiss if Zoe's artistic talent were not mentioned in this speech. Zoe is an extremely gifted illustrator and writer, as is demonstrated in her senior project, some chapters of her first graphic novel. Miss Anna remarks, "I have only known her for 7 months, but all I can say is she's an amazing, very talented artist with skills way beyond her years. She is someone to look out for in the art world, and I am honored to have taught her briefly in art." I think all of us are grateful to have gotten to know Zoe. She just kind of leaves that imprint on you, a student never to be forgotten. Although I know Zoe might prefer to run off into the woods after graduation, I'm hoping she'll stick around. Zoe, in 6th grade, Sarah Jane wrote of you, "You've been a fun, loving, and creative presence, Zoe. You've gotten along well with everyone in the group, and it seems that you've enjoyed our adventures outdoors. I hope you always continue to see beauty and creative potential in the natural world. You are a fun-loving, creative presence at LACS, Zoe, and you will be missed. Keep your connection to the outdoors and go unleash your creative potential to the world." Congratulations.
All right. I have the honor of graduating Isaiah Burke. Kind, sensitive, brilliant, open-minded, charming, artistic, analytical, wise are just a few of the many words that come to my mind when thinking of Isaiah Berger. It has been a joy and an honor to watch him blossom into the amazing young man he has become. He brings magic, thoughtfulness, light, and depth wherever he goes and lights up any room he is in. Just being in his presence, having a conversation, listening to music or creating music around him makes one want to be deeper in themselves, speak the truth, see all perspectives, and find meaning. Isaiah gives to his peers and community effortlessly and naturally brings a presence that enlightens. He is both a teacher and a student. He learns from those around him and shares his thoughts and points of view with sensitivity, empathy, and honesty. His powerful focus and presence of heart and mind, and caring nature, as well as lightheartedness, sense of adventure, and amazing sense of humor, have helped him create deep friendships among his peers and teachers and be a very powerful member of our school community. His work in music and in becoming a musician speaks of integrity, creativity, and a musician finding and expressing their voice. Right from the start of his career at LACS, he was looking to find his own way and play with passion and precision on his cello. The cello turned into the electric bass, and he found his voice on this instrument. He plays in any style of music with adaptability and ease and centered humility. He finds his center in music, inspires all who play with him to do the same without needing words or direction. Isaiah's powerful calm in making music comes from years of reflection, practice, and observation of the world around him, and sharing his music and musical visions with his peers. In his numerous academic endeavors and explorations, Isaiah took heart in what he did. In the great words of Yoda, "Do or do not, there is no try," Isaiah followed this. He gave his all in his assignments and met challenges with newfound wisdom and inspiration. He learned to trust his own abilities and found answers in the process of learning. Through self-reflection, he learned to own his strengths and meet challenges with faith and perseverance. All qualities that Jedi strive for, as well as our school of educators and learners. Isaiah has grown into a young man who has found and actualized qualities we all strive for in our lifetime as citizens of our planet. We will miss his wisdom, inspiration, presence, and his smile as he graduates. He has been accepted into the IC Film School, as well as SUNY Purchase. He will be taking a gap year next year where he plans to work, make music, and explore his options for his next steps in life. Isaiah, it has been an honor being your teacher and a blessing to know you and be part of your life. Congratulations. Your diploma and book. You may.
Welcome, friends and family of Lydia Sladen, to whom we are conferring graduation rights today, June 17th, 2020. I know Lydia likes her music. She beats to her own drum joyfully. I first experienced this when at Fall Retreat last year, she got up to offer a song during the talent show. I was all set for her to cue up her music and sing along with it. Nope, she was going to sing this song a cappella, and she did. What a wonderful experience it was for me and the entire audience. It didn't seem like an easy song to sing either. A blues song with lots of throaty, complex melodies and note structures. But the confidence and poise with which she delivered that song was mesmerizing and moving. That act seems to represent a theme in Lydia's personality and academic career here at LACS. You are so comfortable in your own skin and in our school. From the hard work of your internship with the Finger Lakes Land Trust to creating intricate collages in the messiness of the photography room. It's been observed that you want to know things, even when they're hard or emotionally and intellectually complex. You seem to be able to sit in busy messiness and learn, create, and just be. Do you remember the song Young Americans by David Bowie? I think you're familiar with it. You wrote a 10-page analysis on it. Well, David Bowie used the cut-up method to create his song Young Americans. It's a lot like fridge magnet poetry, where people put together randomly placed words into some sort of phrasing that is meaningful to them. And like you, Lydia, Bowie was comfortable with the free form and deep exploration that the song was created out of. I know that in the busy messiness that is life, you will find your comfort zone, being comfortable to pause, being comfortable to create, comfortable to just be. You've given the entire school the benefit of your creativity and bravery. All the plays and productions you've been in over the years have really inspired and impressed us all. You have brought out such fun and insight and unique charm and openness to being just who you are to our whole community. From the sweet fez days of middle school to the intricacy of political essays and personal poems of high school, you have moved us to be a better, more open, and more thoughtful community. Thank you, Lydia. I'm sure I speak for everyone when I say we can't wait to see what you become as you head to the College of Worcester this fall to create new knowledge and to see the wonderfully original and spectacular creations that you share with the world. Congratulations. We wish you the best.
I am Samite. I am a musician. I am a refugee. First of all, I would like to congratulate all the graduating students of year 2020. But before you go out there to conquer the world and make it a better place, I'd like to share my story with you. I was born in Uganda. So I've been asking myself, what can I share with you? Something that has helped me navigate until, to where I am right now. So I chose to share two things with you. That whenever you're going through a difficult time and you think this is the end, that is not really the end. Remind yourself that things will get better. With time, things change for the better. Another point that I think that has helped me also. When you wake up in the morning, don't focus only on yourself. Think about what you can do for other people. What can you do for your neighbor? Life gets better when we take focus off of ourselves. Those are the two important things that I'd like to share with you. I'd like to sing a song for you. This is a song called To Kido. I'm going to record myself many times over. This is a song that I'm actually singing in a language that I made up. You find that a lot of wars that happen in Africa is because people say, hey, those people don't speak the same language, so they're my enemies. But what if we all sang in the same language? To kido kutunudu kutungunungunu kutunudu 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 teri bampa bampa bampanti banti babe kutunudu teri bampa bampa bampanti bampa ba kutunudu teri bampa bampa bampanti banti babe kutunudu teri bampa bampa bampanti bampa ba kutunudu to kido kutunudu kutungunungunu kutunudu to kido kutunudu kutungunungunu kutunudu to kido kutunudu kutungunungunu kutunudu to kido kutunudu tibampa bampa ba kutunudu to kido kutunudu tibampa ba kutunudu to kido kutunudu tibampa bampa ba kutunudu to kido kutunudu tibampa ba kutunudu to kido kutunudu tibampa bampa ba kutunudu to kido kutunudu tibampa ba kutunudu to kido kutunudu tibampa bampa ba kutunudu to kido kutunudu tibampa ba kutunudu kiteri bampa 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 tibanti babe kutunudu kiteri bampa 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 tibampa ba kutunudu kiteri bampa 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 tibanti babe Teddy bumpa 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 ti bumpa bumpa. Gite bumpa bumpa. Gite bumpa bumpa. Congratulations. Go make the world a better place.
For those watching at home, I'm Chris Martin, and it is my distinct pleasure to introduce you to Will Trent. Will, if someone were to make a movie of your time at LACS, it would open in an unusual place. Not in the classrooms of the school, but rather it would open on a sunny path, deep in the Pennsylvania woods. A group of students comes walking around the bend, their arrival heralded by joyful singing. And in that bog there was a tree, a rare tree, a rattling tree. They are on their way to go rock climbing, and the anticipation is palpable. But this is not a story about the carefree days of childhood. Rather, it's a story of resilience, persistence through suffering, and hope that is manifested via mirth in the face of adversity. To say that high school was an easy process for you would be a lie. That's not to say that the learning was hard. We cut to a scene of you wowing your teachers in your ELA PBAT, and then confidently delivering your speech during the Middle East debates. But life could get in the way of getting work done. We cut to an uncomfortable student-led conference, and then you frantically finishing portfolios at the end of the year. And of course, it's also not to say that at school was all hardship. Cut to a scene of you playing board games with your friends, playing goggle ball relentlessly during lunch. Cut back to rock climbing on a sunny cliff face in PA. And in that tree there was a nest, a rare nest, a rattling nest. But the turning point in the movie came the moment that you became a self-directed learner. We cut to you making the difficult decision to forgo your last chance to do a rock climbing trip in order to complete your missing work. Yes, you still get the credit for that, even if the trip was canceled. There is not a closing scene, at least not yet. Memories of good times together will live on in this school for years to come, just as the lessons you learned here will continue to grow in you for the rest of your life. But there needs to be a pivotal scene, the moment in the film that cuts to the heart of who you have been for us. And so, we close with those students from the opening scene, back at the camp in the evening. They have built a village out of hammocks and are lying under the stars. One of their classmates has been bitten by a copperhead and been rushed to the hospital. Who can sleep with all the frenetic energy of the moment? Is she okay? What about the wild snakes running loose? Oh my God! But as the adrenaline starts to fade, there's a moment of stillness. Thoughts of mortality, the end of childhood, move through the shadows of their minds, like the smoke curling from the campfire. Its faint embers glowing and slowly dimming, a hint that like this fire, this moment, our connections to one another are not forever. A profound silence settles on the group, like moonlight slumbering on a still pond. And then, out of nowhere, you sing, "Hit it!"
And in that nest, there was a snake, a rare snake, a rattling snake.
And everyone's trying to say too soon, but they're laughing a little too hard. It's mirth in the face of adversity. It's how many of us get through this life. And it was your gift to us here at LACS. We're going to miss it and you. Congratulations.
Thank you, Chris. I appreciate it.
Hello, everyone. I'm Matt Reelman, and I'd like to present Jaylene Rivera. There is a door into the larger world through which all LACS graduates must walk. Jaylene is someone who has quietly but constantly studied this door for several years. She's asked what kind of material it is made of, how it works, which way it swings, and who holds the key to unlock it. Recently, she's discovered that she holds that key. Earlier this year, Jaylene completed a major project in her English class, her PBAT, on persistence as a character trait. It is no coincidence that she chose this quality, as it is one that stands out in her own personality. Jaylene has persisted in school, not shying away from challenges. And people have noticed. Robin, who has known Jaylene in many different ways at LACS, trips, family group, Students of Color Committee, has seen Jaylene grow into someone who she is proud of. A primary organizer of the previously at-risk aquamarine trip, a fierce advocate for all students of color, and someone who reserves her voice for when it really matters. And when she speaks, people listen. She has made good friends with many students, but also among our staff, including our nurse, Barbara, who had this to say about Jaylene. She is someone who is deeply caring and perpetually curious. On the many occasions that we've spoken, she asks questions about what I do as a nurse. She wants to know the science behind how the body works. Barbara has also noted that Jaylene gives of herself without expecting anything in return. These qualities are very much in line with Jaylene's chosen future in studying nursing and perhaps even becoming a therapist later on. Many are unaware that she has already interned with a school social worker in a local elementary school. She was no passive intern, though. Instead, she quietly observed, helped wherever was needed, and has already started a dialogue with her mentor about how her youngest students of color are affected by their school experiences. So Jaylene's future is actually now. She has already unlocked and walked through her door, and now she has turned back and is looking to see how she can use her knowledge to help others find their way. We're all so proud of who you've become. Congrats, Jaylene. Diploma.
It is my pleasure to present Horizon Dan. It's customary to start these graduation speeches with a quote. So let's start with one that speaks volumes to your character. It's a quote from you. No! So, for the uninitiated watching the recording, at first listen, this sounds like a cry of despair. But listen carefully, and you'll hear everything that you need to know about Horizon. Life hands trying moments to us all. Horizon will be playing a game and an opponent will make a devastating move. Or he'll be trying an exceedingly difficult route while rock climbing and slip and have to start from scratch. When setbacks happen, Horizon lets out a cry. Do it with me this time. No! And it's like 20% anguish and 80% laugh, because he's the most jovial person that you'll ever meet. It's been a long and interesting road. I'm not gonna lie. There were a few nights back during your 9th grade year where your teachers would lie awake wondering, how can I get this kid to stop drilling holes in my tables? Sure, you had a real talent for distracting yourself and others. But you also picked up the concept so quickly that you were able to get everyone back on track with relative ease. So when you signed up for a rock climbing trip during that spring, we had no idea what to expect. Given the safety issues involved, we were hoping we had not made a huge mistake in including you on the trip. Well, it turns out we had made a mistake, but that mistake was in doubting your character. You quickly proved yourself to be one of the most helpful members out of the entire group. You encouraged classmates to be safe climbers. You invited people who might have felt ostracized into the center of the social circle. And you motivated your peers to do their share of the work. This year, we selected you to be a teaching assistant for the trip because we knew that you'd be hard to match in terms of being helpful, taking initiative, and bringing a positive, healthy sense of community to the group. These past few years, you've brought these positive traits into the classroom with you as well. Your evaluations are filled with examples of teachers extolling your exuberance, and you are renowned for your ability to pull your classmates into thoughtful and engaging conversations about the content. You're contemplative, considerate, you're an inclusive community builder, both inside and outside the classroom, and yet, while you're principled and you're thoughtful, you take difficult classes and difficult stances for social justice, you somehow also manage just to bring a sense of joy and fun wherever you go. This fall, that is likely to be Cayuga Community College, where you major in general studies until you decide where you will turn your mind to next. They'll be lucky to have you. And while we at LACS are so happy for you, we're also imagining a school without you and perhaps thinking just a little bit to ourselves, no! Congratulations.
All right, I'd like to call Jack up to the stage. Okay, so Jack is a performer. We all know this. But how did he get to be this way? Of course, he has plenty of innate talent. His parents remember fondly his stage debut, where he tore the house down singing the Macarena, flanked by kindergarten backup dancers. He didn't know the words, but he sang with gusto whatever gibberish came to mind. But Jack dates the true beginning of his acting career later, in 6th grade. It was then that he was cast as Mr. Salt in LACS's production of Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory. In his first cycle evaluation for the project, Gina and Caitlin shared that he had a, quote, natural flair for the dramatic, but that he could do to memorize his lines. He set this as a goal for himself and then worked hard to accomplish it. By 2nd cycle, they were celebrating his memorization. And this became a theme for Jack, setting goals and then doing whatever it takes to accomplish them. After Willy Wonka, Jack was hooked on theater. He joined the Shakespeare Ensemble for As You Like It. From there, he went on to perform at LACS, IHS with Running to Places, Circus Culture, and more. But Jack continued to excel as a student, too. He brought energy and enthusiasm into an otherwise sleepy first period English class with me last year. When I gave him feedback on his writing, they became goals. And by the end of the year, he had worked to accomplish every suggestion I gave, growing tremendously as a writer. That was all the more impressive, given his last month of that year. Jack was cast in a professional production in the Cortland Repertory Theater. In order to perform, he needed to miss almost an entire month of school. He was so motivated to be a part of the show that he was proactive about getting all of his assignments from his teachers and turning them in before rehearsals began, displaying his self-direction, hard work, and drive to achieve in school and on stage. Then, senior year, Jack designed a totally unique schedule with choir at IHS and free periods to sing and practice piano. His dad joked that he essentially built his own performing arts high school. Sharon, Jack's voice teacher, explains how he threw himself into the college application process, navigating the terrifying world of musical theater auditions. He showed up to voice lessons 2-3 times a week to prepare. Jack has a goal. Jack does what it takes to accomplish it. But through the process, Sharon explained, he also took the time to build self-awareness. He grew as an artist not only because he practiced a lot, though he did, but also because he put in the emotional and mental labor that it takes to grow as a performer. But Jack doesn't think only of himself. He has also developed a strong awareness of injustice in the world. He has volunteered for many cycles at the food pantry, and his Facing Bias project explored how colorblind casting leads to racial bias in theater here at ICSD. He even reflected on how this bias has probably helped him get roles. This sort of self-reflection, combined with hard work and a sense of justice, are what makes Jack the incredible human that he is. So it was no real surprise when Jack was accepted to the musical theater program at Rider University, where we know he will continue to work his hardest, pushing himself and the society around him to grow and improve. I'd like to call Mira to the stage, please. When Mira was little, her grandmother sewed her beautiful Halloween costumes. Could she have known then the impact this small creative project would have on the young Mira? And when, sitting on a couch with friends, someone suggested that they watch a new show about a time-traveling alien in a blue police box, could anyone have known then how important this suggestion would be to Mira's life? These moments are significant because they set Mira on her path. She has a clarity of purpose unlike any student I have ever met. She is set on designing costumes and will not rest until she is doing so for the cast of Doctor who by now know and appreciate her passion and talents. We all saw that video of Jodie Whittaker complimenting Mira on her impeccable cosplay. Mira's resume of experience is impressive. She has worked on productions, in and out of school, has taught sewing classes in the community, and works tirelessly on her own cosplay designs. Through these many experiences, she has gained not only immense technical skill, but also an impressive dedication and work ethic. She perseveres through mistakes, using each as a place for growth. She was the only student in our school to audit a Cornell course on costume design. Meanwhile, her enthusiasm for her projects is infectious, and her creativity brings characters and historical periods to life for all of us. Mira's clarity of purpose is what led her to get in touch with the costume designer for Doctor Who over Instagram. It is he who told her about his alma mater, the Royal Welsh College of Music and Drama in Cardiff, Wales. She set her sights on this school and decided to graduate high school early to get there sooner. I was her English teacher at the time and was already impressed with her diligence, energy, engagement, and uncanny ability to analyze characters. Yes, she would graduate early, but how? Students in New York State are required to take 4 years of English. In her typically independent and hardworking fashion, Mira arranged an independent study with me to complete a second English class while already taking a full course load. Together, we developed a curriculum of British literature by women authors to complement her extensive knowledge of British history, fashion, and media. Mira read novels from Jane Austen's Pride and Prejudice to Zadie Smith's White Teeth. In a creative piece for the class, she wrote a few scenes for a modern retelling of Pride and Prejudice. She perfectly captured Lizzie Bennet's essence while placing her into a completely new context. This understanding of and interest in characters is no doubt part of what makes Mira such an excellent costume designer. As driven as she is, a speech about Mira would be remiss if it didn't mention her warmth and social grace. She has built so many loving relationships with teachers and with friends. Mira, I rue the day I need to eat lunch in U7 without your charming company. But I know my pain will pale in comparison to your dearest friends who will remain on this side of the Atlantic while you fly ever closer to your dreams. Our only consolation is knowing that on your return, you will bring us all lavish, handmade, period-specific costumes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I would like to call Eli Hastings to the stage. Eli. Thank you for having me. Eli, that's the phrase that you end so many of your self-reflections with. Thank you for having me. For years, you've been telling your teachers this at the end of a course. This is pure Eli. It says so much about your spirit and your connection. You always show appreciation for your opportunities. You always smile, make great conversation, and you always bring your honest self. So honest, you even fess up in some of those same evaluations about being a social butterfly. But you're also a kind student and the kind of person who asks good questions, is always trying to make the work meaningful, to make it meet your interests, namely fashion. Thank you for having me, he says. As we do at LACS, you've had to reflect a lot about your experiences here. You say that it's the small nature of the school, the flexibility and the relationships that have helped you to thrive. And that makes complete sense since you come from a small but very tight family. And so the small, comfortable nature of our school has helped you to stretch out, getting comfy in places like math class, where you overcame challenges, and then you turn immediately to the person next to you and teach them the concept you just learned. You stretched out in 2 glorious years with John Raymond as you grew to see yourself as a writer, appreciating both his deep kindness, but also his unapologetic push for you to shape your work more. In his class, you went the extra mile, not only writing a story reflecting different phases in the man's life, but also you assembled different outfits to illustrate it, which knocked the project out of the park. PBATs were another opportunity for you to go deep with your interests. For social studies, you chose a topic close to your heart, conspicuous consumption in the fashion industry. You stood in front of me, not such a big deal, and Chris Sperry, a little intimidating, and pitched your research project. Pitched is the word because it came off more like a sales demonstration than an informal presentation. So smooth and convincing, so lively and fun for what was really a pretty stuffy presentation for most students. And later you admitted to being nervous, which came as a total shock. This immediately reminded me of the song Waltz No. 2 by Elliott Smith, in which he muses about the meaning of the word composed. And he writes, or sings, "She appears composed, so she is, I suppose, who can really tell?" It looks like you've made an excellent choice to attend Parsons School of Design, headed to another small, intimate school where you can continue to use your considerable interpersonal skills to achieve your goal of working in the fashion industry. I can see you there and later in your career working the room at a board meeting, because that's exactly what we've seen from you. Self-aware, comfortable young man, easygoing and friendly, all attributes that are going to take you far. Now, Eli, this year is not ending the way either of us has expected. For a social butterfly like you, to end high school at home is not the story that you imagined for yourself. But there's something important I've learned, and I really want to share this with you. There are no Cinderella stories in life. Life does not provide for princesses to sweep us off our feet. No magical endings, no fairy godmothers. And I think that's okay, because I think you'll agree that those stories suck. If yours feels more like a J.D. Salinger story or a Hunter S. Thompson novel, well, at least you're never going to be bored. Eli, after working with you for 7 years, it's such a huge honor to get to see you on your very last day at LACS. I can't wait to hear what you accomplish. Thank you for having me.
Alec, would you care to join me on stage? Alec Travis is a budding musician, part-time historian, and has the unique distinction of being able to simultaneously embrace philosophical ambiguities in his coursework while rescuing an entire class of LACS students from the wrath but undeniable cuteness of a musculus, or common mouse. Alec once joked that the music room was his home because of how much time he spent there. Music is a huge part of his life and his expression of it. He has been a capable leader and organizer in the various music groups at our school, and might be the only person in our community who calls our music teacher Mr. Dara. As his musical self, he is an experimenter of different styles and methods, and also sees music as a path forward into the world. While it might be hyperbole to say he has godlike musical abilities, it is no exaggeration to say that he wields his guitar as Thor wields his hammer Mjolnir. Alec has shared some of his interests in history and politics with those teachers and classmates he has mingled with over the years, and has gleaned from those classes an important lesson. History can be felt as much as it can be examined. As many of his peers, Alec has been affected by the various texts he read and stories he's heard. As such, learning that certainties and biases that you bring into a classroom don't always survive contact with the group discussion. These lessons culminated in his portrayal of a representative of the Houthi rebels in the LACS Middle East debates, in which Alec not only adopted the background knowledge of his character, but assumed the mindset of a people beleaguered by war. In those debates, Alec argued his position so expertly, it was difficult to tell where Alec stopped and his Houthi character began. And then there was this mouse, loose in a classroom full of students who were absolutely freaking out. Alec calmly strode up, picked up the poor critter, dumped her outside, and then remarked, "I wish I could keep it, it was kind of cute." And then just walked back to his seat as if nothing had happened. This act of heroism earned him a green flag, of course, but was also another perfect portrayal of who Alec is, the cool and collected, the wielder of musical axes, and understander of political and philosophical ambiguities. Congratulations, Alec. I wish I could, my friend. But here, take your diploma if you would. We'll shake hands soon.
I would like to call Pearl Wood to the stage. Hi, Pearl.
Hi, how are you?
Good, how are you?
Great.
Megan Rapinoe with her soccer ball, Jimi Hendrix with his guitar, Annie Leibovitz with her camera, Pearl Wood, well, with her camera. For all these people, excellence is not an accident. If we chalk up the success of Rapinoe, Hendrix, and Leibovitz to natural talent, we're not giving them nearly enough credit. Malcolm Gladwell writes, "Achievement is talent plus preparation." And he emphasizes the preparation part. And preparation just might be Pearl's middle name. She's preparing right now. Time and time again, Pearl has put herself outside of her comfort zone and done all the homework necessary to feel comfortable enough to make it. Before she even stepped into my video class, she had not only absorbed some of the best recent films, but watched interviews with the filmmakers, watched documentaries about the making of those films, learned about the camera angles, how they're done and what they're for. And so she was prepared to get the most out of her experience. Through Pearl's experiences, she has come to the mature realization that one small opportunity can pave her way towards something big. A video project leads to signing up for video trip, which piques her interest enough so she signs up for video class. And the screenplay she writes in class gets her accepted to the pre-college summer program at the California College of Arts in Oakland. The clips she creates there help her get accepted into prep. This magic of being in the moment and working really hard, doing her best, transports her to an incredible future. And every step of the way, people tend to notice your spark, Pearl, and are inspired to step in and be a part of it and support you. And I'm only using film as one example, by the way. Pearl, you've conquered so many worlds in your time, and any one of them might be a crowning achievement for some people. You've taken on the world of roller derby, as all of you know, taught kids how to sew, volunteered on film sets, stood in front of 300 of your peers, and led our school through a complicated democratic process. But all this sounds like Pearl does it all to perfection, which is actually not really the case, because Pearl knows as much as anyone that overthinking could set her behind. For her senior seminar, she wrote 2 college essays that I know of. Overcoming uncertainty with sheer will ambition. During the months of quarantine, Pearl, you talked about getting into making zines, cutting and pasting and using markers to make informal indie magazines. You call this work discarding perfectionism. You're actively inviting messiness, hoping to allow it to exist so you can practice moving forward with a greater pace. In many ways, you're already open to the randomness of the universe that you practice with your zine making. What makes you a wonderful collaborator is that you're open to other ideas. You love working with other people on a team because letting go and trusting is something you know you have to do in a group setting, like working the room at the all-school meeting, or planning all-student orientation, or collaborating on a film set. Pearl is headed to Pratt Institute in Brooklyn, where she'll continue her study of film and filmmaking. All of her preparation gives her a huge boost before she even arrives, which brings us back to Pearl and her camera, and once again, Malcolm Gladwell. In his book, Blink, Gladwell talks about snap judgments and what it's like to be in the zone. Why is Michael Jordan able to slow the world down, like a scene from The Matrix, and see more clearly than his competitors? He's amped up just enough to have emotion, but he's also calm enough to be able to think straight. Pearl's preparation puts herself in the same position. If you've seen her behind a camera, you know what I mean. All the preparation and analysis fade to the background, and she's 100% in the moment. Michael Jordan with his basketball, Pearl Wood with the camera. Pearl, good luck at Pratt. I can't wait to hear about your adventures there. Congratulations.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
I'd like to call Franny up, please. All right. So 76 years ago, we stood here on this very stage to hear 10 things you need to know about Frances Louise Lux. Here we are again, where in 4 short years, so much more has transpired. You self-identify as someone who tries to live in the moment, do as much as possible, and to get the most out of the day. That clearly is an understatement, because man, this woman is non-stop. In the time you've spent with us, you've grown from a relatively shy, yet bouncy 11-year-old into a force to be reckoned with. In your Who Am I essay, you wrote about your love for being on the water, in your sailboat, or while interning on the floating classroom discovering your passion for aquatic biology, for theater, both in musicals and Shakespeare, for books, especially Harry Potter, for activism with the Youth Against Fracking, and for friends. As you went through high school, your list expanded, but most of those early loves are still some of your deepest passions. The water. You continued your presence on the floating classroom. You worked with the Trout in the Classroom project, and your own nidolopsis research happened there too. You love to sail and are conspiring to get your captain's license to command your new vessel, the Mud Skipper. In theater, you took directorial leadership for the student-run Shakespeare group, following in the footsteps of some of your favorite people. Your book choices reflect a more mature and sophisticated, but still voracious, reading palette. Your friends span many years and many places. You've added farming to your repertoire, currently working with the swine out at the permaculture farm. And since 10th grade, you've been a committed member to the Agenda Committee, honing your leadership skills in ASM and helping to reinvigorate our school's democratic process. Even during DL 2.0, you were one spoke in the Spokes Council, responsible for leading Keeping Democracy Alive in a global pandemic work that we did. This year, you attended the Progressive Educators Network conference in Minneapolis, where you, Clara, and Jaden were the only students to attend, let alone lead workshops. You also committed to the ongoing work we did once back at school, which led to the Be There event, also canceled. You decided to attend the Chewonki School in Maine for a semester, experiencing a more traditional academic atmosphere, albeit in a small farm school setting. While offering you many new experiences, upon your return to LACS, you were able to crystallize your awareness of the ways in which LACS goes above and beyond the opportunities it offers. We have tremendous gratitude for your boundless energy and commitment, and are glad that, though you are one to take on as much as possible, with a slight tendency to overcommit, a little, you are learning how to take care of yourself a bit more, to know and be responsible for yourself. Adrienne Rich said, "Responsibility to yourself means refusing to let others do your thinking, talking, and naming for you. It means learning to respect and use your own brains and instincts, hence grappling with hard work." And you grapple every day. The effectiveness and skill you bring to all you do is inspiring and grounding. You are one who exemplifies why we should trust young people and look forward to a future led by them. You are the role model for those now who follow in your footsteps. In your gap year before heading to UNH to continue your aquatic biology passion, you hope to intern at LACS to continue the work on projects about school democracy that got cut short this spring, and we're so lucky. Mark Twain once said, "In 20 years, you'll be more disappointed by the things you didn't do than by the things you did. So throw off the bow lines, sail away from safe harbor, catch the trade winds in your sail, explore, dream, and discover." Congratulations, friend. Oops. The end.
Okay. I would like to call Sophie Ferreira to the stage. Sophie, it's hard to know how to encapsulate your time at LACS in a 3-minute speech. You are anything but a traditional student, so I'll try to match that with your speech. As such, with the utmost respect for you, I decided to make a list, using the letters of your name as my guideposts. S, service. To you, service is not just something to be done, it is a part of who you are. Your contributions through the food pantry, Habitat for Humanity, St. Catherine's, and Code Red Robotics are just a few of the ways you've embodied service. You are a beautiful reminder of why the service requirement at LACS is so important. You listen, you learn, and you turn your understanding into action that serves others. O, openness. It is not enough to pick a project and do it. You have to be open to learning through the exploration of that project. During your junior year English seminar class, you started as a writer who did not want to share work at all. And through your openness to hearing feedback from peers and allowing that feedback to influence your writing, you wound up sharing your writing in Ithaca's annual literary festival, Spring Writes. Though frustrating, you listened to Bronwyn ask you why over and over again and saw it as an opening to learn more and to think more critically. As you engaged with our distance learning planning group this spring, you kept your ears open to your peers and shared feedback in our meetings that significantly shaped our understanding of the student experience. P, practical. A quote from The Alchemist, "People are capable at any time in their lives of doing what they dream of." You, Sophie, are a dreamer. But here's what I find so remarkable about you. You have the practicality to make your dreams come true. Some people wake up from a dream and write down the details of that dream. You wake up and write a detailed list of how to achieve the dream. From your creation of a new committee at LACS to your current endeavor of building a tiny house, you are capable of doing whatever you dream. H, hungry. You are hungry for knowledge, for understanding, and for purpose. I could quote literally all of your teachers to demonstrate this hunger, but instead, I'm going to quote you, reflecting on your social studies PBAT. On the one hand, because I found it interesting, I had no problem researching. The problem occurred when writing the actual paper. Because of my fascination with the topic, I didn't want to stop researching. Your hunger for knowledge and understanding is matched by your hunger for purpose. It is one thing to have knowledge, it is another entirely to direct that knowledge towards good and change. I, invested. As you have become invested in our school, your love and respect for a school-based democracy has flourished. As such, you have found one of your many centers is investing in our democracy. By creating a peer tutoring community through our democratic system, by exploring the democracy in depth through your Seal of Bioliteracy project, and by sharing, in your senior meeting, your creative and thoughtful critiques and suggestions about making our school a better place. Now, if you're keeping track, I've spelled most of your name, but left one letter out. I'm pretty sure I've called you both Sophie and Sophia over the last 2 years. And here's why I left off the last letter. It's not my list to end. 6 letters is not nearly enough to capture who you are, so the last is left for you, for the list to go on until you decide it's done. When you head to the University of Rochester in the fall of 2021, a new list will start. In the meantime, I hope you'll follow this, also from The Alchemist. There is only one way to learn. It's through action. Everything you need to know, you have learned through your journey. We're so happy to be part of your journey. Congratulations. That's yours.
I'll burn the records. Hitting lights daily on me, flexing every day, flexing every day, I'm flexing every day. Get down. I know, gonna sing my heart out. I know, and no turning back now. I know, getting harder. I can't get enough, can't get enough. Keep it flourishing, keep it flourishing, keep it flourishing. Keep it flourishing, keep it flourishing, keep it flourishing. Keep it flourishing, keep it flourishing, keep it flourishing. Keep it flourishing, keep it flourishing, keep it flourishing.
One day you will stare down a skyscraper, break your walls down and fly higher, take your fears and set them on fire. Oh, oh, one day you'll tear down the fortress that you never knew you never needed. I love you will be more than a recurring dream, read and repeated. You'll say you're happy and you know you really mean it. Your work has all paid off and finally you can see it. Oh, you're gone somewhere someday, night turns to dawn. One day it's coming fast as lightning, your way, your future's ever brightening. Someday, dreams surpassed, you will be thriving. One day, you'll be so much better than alright, babe. One day, you'll be a star, you'll be right here. You'll smile in joy instead of fear. The day is coming soon, my dear, when you'll be all you've ever dreamed. Yeah, one day the world will scream your name. Happiness will melt your chains away. Right now we'll never be the same. And it's you to blame. And you're going, somewhere someday, night turns to dawn. You're going, somewhere someday, night turns to dawn. It's you and I electrified. We dance in silence, petrified. Beneath the moonbeams' piercing eyes, we swim away from the shoreline, towards the array of second chances that we live every day, far away, peaceful and still. The moonbeams say, one day, oh, one day, you're going, somewhere someday, night turns to dawn. One day, it's coming fast as lightning. Your way, your future's ever brightening. Someday, dreams surpassed, you will be thriving. One day, you'll be so much better than alright, babe. One day, one day, one day, one day, one day.
I would like to call Giancarlo to the stage. I speak to maps, and sometimes they say something back to me. Abdul Razak Gurnah, a novelist who explores the complexity of colonialism and its aftermath, wrote those words. And when I read them, I thought of you, Giancarlo. I thought of your fascination with maps and the way cultures overlay each other, the way the story of a place, a neighborhood, a farm, a city block often has layers, sometimes tilted, sometimes mishmashed, sometimes sharp and distinct, but all worth knowing, all deserving of a voice. This is one trait I admire about you, your desire to hear others' views and stories, even when they are obscure, perhaps seen by others as peripheral or nebulous. Here I think of your role as a youth ambassador with the History Center, including the critical efforts on centering local Indigenous voices, but also your deep appreciation for an eclectic array of music and movies, from 90s hip hop to indies films, that speak to that vast Venn diagram where the individual story meets the cultural zeitgeist. On a personal note, you helped me believe that teaching just might matter during the pandemic. From our one-on-one discussions about Spike Lee to your musings about how to meaningfully engage in the current protest movements, to our swapping of places to go for hikes so we could keep our sanity. Your appreciation for nature, partly garnered from canoe trip and partly from splitting wood and time in the family garden with your dad, is also a vital part of who you are. Through all this and throughout your time at ACS, you approached understanding the world in a way that your friends sometimes teased you about, namely as a genuine scholar, what I would call an emerging public intellectual. You probe and analyze, reflect and connect, sift and synthesize, share epiphanies and relish connections, and always with humility and an open mind. And yet you also grasp that human interactions and face-to-face bonds must be the ballast behind your intellectual insights. From talking with people who came to the monthly food giveaway right here on West Hill, to reaching out to the migrant farm worker community, you grounded your learning in personal connections. And then there's your senior project, a detailed family tree accompanied by nuanced stories of parents and grandparents. From the red clay earth of the Piedmont to an ancient Incan bridge in Ecuador, from powwow dance competitions to joyful moments in a working class LA suburb, all of which you courageously shared in class. Not an easy feat for someone wary of the spotlight. In each story, you honored the person and the place, the family and the land, the struggles and the cultures, which brings us back to layers and to maps. It is not surprising that you plan to study human geography at Clark University, a school that excels in civic engagement and interdisciplinary studies. And I will end with a line from a movie we both admire, The Florida Project, a film that explores place and people on the margins with an unnerving clarity, much as you strive to do in your studies and in your life. At the rundown motel where the main characters live, 6-year-old Mooney says to her friend, "There are rooms we're not supposed to go in. These are rooms we are not supposed to go in, but let's go in anyways." Go into those rooms, Giancarlo. Take those risks, and keep coming back to share your insights about those places, those cultures, those individuals. For we need people willing to be as caring and observant and committed to hearing everyone's story as you are. Congratulations, Giancarlo. I'm going to miss you. Our whole community will miss you.
I would like to call Gwen Burrows up to the stage. Working in the kitchen of a very busy restaurant isn't for everyone. It is an intensely fast-paced environment, often suited to people who use their voices and speak loudly when the need arises, which is why it is so remarkable that Gwen thrived in the environment where we first met. Gwen and I met at Agava a few years ago before I was hired to work as a school counselor at LACS. I was a server and Gwen was a busser, an often thankless and isolating job. Unbeknownst to me, by that time, Gwen had already completed 2 of the 7 TC3 classes that she would eventually complete. LACS senior speeches are not supposed to be about the students' accolades or academic accomplishments, and this speech is not, but I can't go on without pointing out this remarkable fact. While working long hours at an intense part-time job, engaging in an incredibly meaningful ongoing service project, facilitating an online gaming community, and being a full-time high school student at LACS, Gwen completed 21 credits of classes at TC3. Gwen's LACS career may have started when she was a 4th grader at Caroline and spent a year working with LACS high school students to build a garden. Fast forward, and Gwen has been part of the prison service project for all 4 years of her high school experience, volunteering for a Cornell program called Prisoner Express. Through this project, Gwen has facilitated communication between people who have been incarcerated and their families and support networks, helping build bridges and creating human connection for incarcerated folks across the country. This is no small task. It involves attention to detail and clear communication, 2 areas where Gwen has thrived. But more than that, this service work requires a heart and the desire to help others. Gwen has read and responded to journal entries, artwork, and requests for education for hundreds of people in prison. This task is often done in isolation, and it requires sorting through materials that reveal the humanity of the people she is helping. I am struck by Gwen's commitment to this work, as holding this kind of information can cause a unique type of stress. It is a remarkable reflection of Gwen's character that she has remained engaged in this project for 4 years, all because she felt like she always had more to give. So back to the restaurant. When the kitchen is at its busiest, efficient communication is key to staying out of the weeds. In the last year, Gwen has moved from a busser to a food runner to working the position known as Expo, checking food before it leaves the kitchen to make sure it's plated properly and on its way to the right place. She's trained new staff in the position she has worked and helps fledgling bussers and food runners learn their craft. Gwen has a unique and subtle efficiency that has allowed her to thrive in the kitchen of Agava, in the classrooms and hallways, and at the top of the Science Wing stairs of LACS, and in her service work through the Prisoner Express. As she moves on to explore the world, her first stop is at the University of Buffalo, where she will learn more about humanity through the lenses of anthropology and archaeology. I know that the LACS community is proud of you, Gwen, and we're excited to see what you uncover next.
It is my great pleasure to call to the stage Mia. Mia, we have so much to say about you in this speech and very little time, so let's get straight to it. We're going to talk about the things that we are going to miss the most about you now that you are graduating from our community. First, let's talk about how you are an incredibly diligent student. You have an amazing ability to plan ahead and get things done. As we just said a couple hours ago in your senior meeting, it is almost like you are allergic to procrastinating. Your work ethic drove you to be a star student at LACS, and there are so many examples of this. Let's start with your brilliance in Bronwyn's double period American Studies course, a class so hard that you were one of the last 10th graders who were ever allowed to take it. You thrived across the board, from John's rigorous English classes to Sarah Arnold's advanced algebra and trigonometry, which I say is the hardest high school math class I've ever seen. Now we have to talk about how you completed all 4 of your PBATs during your junior year. This is crazy. Tons of students don't even start their PBATs during their junior year, and you are able to get through all of them in amazing fashion. You plan ahead, you get things done. It's amazing. Okay, now it is time to talk about the thing that you are obviously the most passionate about, which is, yes. We all know that Mia's number one passion right now is K-pop and dance. In your college application essays, you wrote about how in 10th grade you first discovered Korean pop music, how this newfound love for K-pop motivated you to teach yourself the Korean alphabet, and how for the last 2.5 years you have taken Korean language classes at Cornell on the weekends. During these last 2.5 years, you have also been a star in Ithaca High School's K-pop dance club. Your dancing has seriously inspired our entire school community. Not only have you blown us away with your performances at the fall retreat and other school events, but all of us have gotten to see you practicing these dances in the hallways. Oftentimes behind the library, which is somewhere I would walk by all the time and see you dancing. And I'm not gonna lie, at first I thought it was a little weird seeing you and your friend Anaya dancing in the halls. But then I realized that this is a perfect example of what our school is supposed to be. We want to be a community where students pursue the things that they are the most passionate about. Your passions for Korean food and language, and of course, music and dance, epitomize what we want to see from our students. Thank you so much for being a role model in that way for our community. Next year, you will begin at George Mason University. We are so proud of you. We love you so much, and you cannot imagine how much we are going to miss you. Congratulations, Mia.
Hey, Rose, come on down. Okay. Rose, one doesn't need to know you long to discover that there are unplumbed depths to you beneath your quiet, reserved exterior. Inside is a voice of extraordinary power, wisdom, and deep perception that cannot be contained. Bronwyn writes, Rose is at home in the outdoors, delicate with all creatures and sensitive to potential laughter and joy. And further, she writes, Rose quietly leads by example. She brings a lighthearted energy that is sweet and funny and helps make all rooms she inhabits safe spaces. Rose deeply understands the value of sharing something of herself with others in order to make a group feel more open. And from Chris Martin, we hear, you have an unfailing willingness to help those around you to learn. You are an exceptional collaborator, and you do an admirable job in guiding your peers to discovering the most complex of concepts, all without ruining their sense of exploration and ownership of the learning. You also model courage when you share your ideas with the class. You did so regularly, perhaps bolstered by the fact that you were literally never wrong when you did so. Every year, the consortium asks us to submit PBATs that we believe best represent an outstanding paper, a good paper, and a competent paper. The speed with which the math department unanimously selected your PBAT paper to represent the outstanding category was breathtaking. We didn't even deliberate at all. But Rose, we're talking about your voice here. In one family group self-reflection, you wrote, as a shy person, I know how hard it is to speak up in a group of people, and I want to help make it easier for others. And in Non-Western Writers, you eloquently touched on one of the many ways you constantly strive to develop and improve yourself. Quote, One obstacle I faced this year was putting pressure on myself to be perfect. In order to overcome this obstacle, I have reminded myself that trying to be perfect is not worthwhile because perfection is impossible. Overcoming this obstacle has been difficult because it's a hard balance to reach between trying to be perfect and trying my best. Yeah. And finally, in American Studies this year, your close analysis of John Steinbeck's travels with Charlie yielded this sophisticated observation. A mosaic is made out of many individual pieces that together make a larger picture. Steinbeck talks about Americans as connected by a common thread, while also acknowledging their individuality and delving into the uniqueness of every person and town that he visits. In this way, each person in Steinbeck's writing is like a tile in a mosaic, an individual and part of a whole. What makes America's mosaic so beautiful is the fact that people are able to share parts of their realities with others and talk about what it's like to live life through their eyes. A closer view reveals that there is no one real America, but a collection of many different versions. Wow. Rose, this voice you have cultivated is a rare gift, and we look forward to seeing how you go forth from here to share it. Congratulations.
Clara Swartout, please come to the stage. Welcome. Sovereignty is the power of a nation to control its own destiny. And really, sovereignty is at the core of everything, right down to the individual. Sovereignty of self is intrinsic. You grant yourself freedom and the responsibility that comes with it. No one can take it from you. They didn't grant it in the first place. Clara, recently you have reflected on sovereignty and its importance. But the kernel of this feeling, this notion, has been with you since the beginning. This comfort in your own skin, being fully present, generous, and with a passion for fairness. Fairness is recognizing the sovereignty in others. You stood in front of our school, communicating the sense of urgency when you saw how people were marginalized. You protested and organized infusion weeks for climate justice and equity. Profoundly feeling and knowing the sovereignty of one's own body, you organized Take Back the Night rallies and were a leader in IFCS committee. To shift a culture corrosive to body sovereignty, you collaborated to create permanent installations for IHS and LACS about sexual harassment and sexual violence. The Advocacy Center recognized your continued work with their Outstanding Youth Achievement Award. Congratulations. You are intrinsically interested in other people, their lives and cultures, from helping kids feel comfortable at the 4-H after school and Give Food Hub through games and songs, to the real friendships you built with middle schoolers in the Akwesasne Freedom School. Clara, a moment of true beauty that I'll cherish is you playing music with Dominda Salate, on their amphitheater in the late afternoon sun. In support of sovereignty of others, you have shifted to being ready to amplify the voices from marginalized groups, pushing yourself to be a co-conspirator. You were there, stopping traffic to support Indigenous rights for the Kaina'ona people in Seneca Falls, for Black Lives Matter. You will continue to take action, I know. For you, sovereign self-expression spills out. You create beautiful art, playing with the gesture of line in the same freedom that's found in your writing and your laugh. Your singing voice fills a hall with clarity and power. You have filled pages of analysis, your mind alive and at work, debating the ideas from classes from facing history to chemistry. You found a passion for farming, working countless hours for the youth farm and raising pigs at Gina's. The natural world has its own sovereignty that you honor, from the smallest bee to the large nested systems of our climate. And now with the energy that you arrived, you are leaving. You were off to Knox College to major in anthropology, to sing, play music, write, study indigenous plants, and what do you want for us? That we should continue to push ourselves, to embrace abolitionist teaching and encourage self-sovereignty in each student. Clara, thank you, and all our love to you.
Can I hug her?
Thank you. I love you too.
It is my honor to call to the podium Marnie. Hey, Marnie. In my youth, daydreaming nurtured me, provided a safe haven. I'd sleep for 12 hours, and even when awake, escape to the safe places in my mind. These are the words of Sandra Cisneros, but I instantly thought of you when I read them. Marnie, your mind floats and flies, adventures here, goblins there, tears and soaring songs with friends. And though doubts worm their way into these dreams at times, you manage to be yourself, quirky and profound, and tender and rambunctious, and just unabashedly you. It makes me think of when Princess Bubblegum from Adventure Time reflects that people get built different. We don't need to figure it out. We just need to respect it. And that is something you give the world, a gut-level, open-hearted respect for our individuality, which manifests itself in loyalty to friends, connecting with the community at GIAC and Cass Park and in the West Village Garden, and through activism, from protesting for Indigenous rights at Chase Bank to your role in Rent, where you humanize the reality of the AIDS epidemic. And this, of course, brings us to a central part of your life, music and theater. On stage, you move us to our marrow, a crystalline truthfulness in your voice that forces us to be present and, and feel in a way that reminds us that each person's story matters, that sorrow and oppression are real, and we need to both understand and feel those realities. You have been in the LACS plays every year of your time with us, from the hilarity of Violet Beauregard in 6th grade to the intensity of Patrice in 13 in your senior year. And there is choir and Celtic band and fall retreat talent shows, and through all of this, you shared not only your voice, but your support for others who took that risk of sharing their songs and hearts with the community. Through listening and talking and emoting together, you became a mentor in the truest sense of the word. And Barbara spoke of your compassion, how you reached out to her so she could reach out to others. For years, school, that four-walled institution society foists on us, was not always your friend. But you found ways to adapt, to quell palpable feelings that made you want to retreat. And you persevered. From presenting nuanced PBATs to sticking with a college-level math class, from sifting through knotty group dynamics as you headed to Ecuador, to courageously sharing your writing in public. As you navigated these hurdles and found ways to make school work for you, we had the joy to witness your freewheeling mind, your fruit bat imitations, your fun and flighty gestures from the windowsill, and the profound way you connected with others, not just loyal, but embraced and embracing, knowing that talking and tears and tired ramblings are not the afterthought of community, but their essence. And this understanding that emotional intelligence is as vital as detached analysis found expression in your poetry. Marnie, as you head off to SUNY Purchase, I don't know what I'm going to do without the uniqueness of your words, skipping and peeking and popping from the page, sly and bold all at once, deadly serious, personal, and tenderly universal. I'll end with a few stanzas from one of your poems. I wish I could read the whole thing, but we may have a storm, let's see. I feel at peace with the sweat and humidity, railroad spike-induced tranquility, tetanus not included. I have the urge to wake someone up, someone who is fast asleep, but I won't do it alone. I'm mischievous, but shy. When I'm up real high, I imagine falling all the way to the ground below. I don't want to die. I just want to feel the rush and the whoosh. And so whoosh out into the busted, beautiful world, and share your whimsy, your voice, and remind us to be present. Remind yourself to be present, and to be good to each other, and truly alive. Thank you, Marnie. The whole, it's okay. This whole community is going to miss you. Congratulations.
In my job as a youth educator at the Advocacy Center, I have the opportunity to work with student volunteers and leaders. And this year, it is my pleasure to announce several student awards. To Clara Schwartout for countless hours of discussion in committees and the community, for your work as a member of the Take Back the Night Collective, as a member of Action, and this year with John Raymond's community service class, and in recognition of your ongoing support of survivors of abuse. It is my honor to present you with an Advocacy Center Outstanding Youth Activist Award. And to the students in John's community service class, Alana, Ethan, Graham, Marnie, Giancarlo, and Maya. You chose a community service project which was both desperately needed and close to home. Because of you, next year, students here at ACS and IHS will be able to find information written by peers about sexual assault, its impacts, who to talk with, and how to have healthier consent-based interactions. And this information will be in everyday places like bathrooms, classrooms, and bulletin boards, and available at any time online. It is my honor to present each of you with a Distinguished Service Award from the Advocacy Center. Thank you.
Congratulations, LACS Class of 2020. My name is Mac Knight, an elder of the LACS community. For those of you who don't know me, pause and think for a moment. If you have taken a PE class and or attended an all-school meeting, then you are familiar with Mac's Court. That's me. However, this isn't about me. This is your day to recognize your successes and achievements over the challenges and demands. You undoubtedly have endured and persevered through some challenging times as of late to get to this point. That's why the year 2020 is so special. It indicates a perfect vision. 2020. I challenge you to use your 2020 vision to be true to yourself and to be the change that you want to see in the world. Take time to ask yourself, who am I? What do I want? What is my purpose? And what am I grateful for? The education experience at LCS has more than prepared you to answer those questions and for your journey that lies ahead of you. Remember to stand up for what is right, use your voice for change, and know that injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere. All lives matter. However, our lives begin to end the day we become silent about things that matter. Black Lives Matter too. Remember to always put the needs of others above your own fears. Lead with love. Lead with compassion. Use your voice. You are equipped. You are prepared. You are ready. We need you. If not you, who? If not now, when? Because of you, I am a proud elder of the LACS community. I can't wait to see you become the change that you are to change the world. Congratulations, LACS class of 2020, and good luck.
Hey LACS seniors, it is Dan Torrington from Asheville, North Carolina, wishing you a wonderful graduation. I'm sorry I couldn't be with you all in person to wish you off onto the next stages of your journeys. I know it's been a weird semester and a weird year with COVID-19 and everything else going on, but I know that you all have weathered it with the passion and dedication and creativity that you all showed while I was at LACS. I miss you, and I believe so much in all the things that you're going to go out into the world to do and all the good that you will bring to the world around you. Congratulations on your graduation, and I wish you the very best in your next step of your journey.
Hi ACS, my name is Francesca, and I was a member of the 2016 graduating class. I just wanted to take this time to extend my sincerest of congratulations to everybody in the class of 2020. I'm so proud of everything that you've accomplished so far, and I'm so excited to see what you will all do in the years to come. My time at ACS was defined in large part by community service, by giving back to my community, and I hope that in the years to come, and whatever you find yourselves doing, you will always keep in mind the lessons and skills that LACS has given you. Always stand up for what you believe in, stand up for yourselves, and stand up for others. I'm so, so proud of each and every one of you, as I know everybody in this community is.
Hey everyone, it's Bev from YES and Ithaca Youth Council Ambassadors. Congratulations on your graduation. I know that in this moment of your life, there is a lot of focus and pressure on what you're doing next, what educational or occupational next step you have. And I think that that pressure can be really damaging. And for me, I remember feeling like I knew exactly what I was going to do and exactly what I was going to be. And it turns out that my life took a very different turn, and that was a really good thing. So I want to wish you all the best as you move into whatever your next thing is, but also to stay flexible and realize that you can actually do and be more than one thing. And what you do, what you study, what your job is only one part of who you are. You get to be much more than that, and you get to be many things over the course of your long life. So stay flexible, don't stress it too much, follow your curiosity and try new things, and congratulations.
Hi everybody, Jamila Walida Simon coming to you from my home. I want to first thank you before I congratulate you. I want to thank each of you for filling the gap, for standing in the gap for your West Hill neighbors. Many of you have surveyed, assisted, encouraged a neighbor you never knew just by showing up to service opportunities in and around this community. And a very special thanks for the hands and the feet that came before you to build a food hub that continues to feed people even during the COVID-19 pandemic. I want to thank you to the strong LACS minds that have been cultivated, who've considered what it would take to maintain our dignity garden space and what it would take for community members to maintain their own dignity during this time. I want to thank you for showing up to pick up food at the docks of Wegmans and to sort food and to compost over at the Friendship Donations Network. And I want to thank you for carrying food and encouraging folks as they move from our space into their homes. Now, the congratulations. I want to congratulate you. You have served time in our community and you'll go off into other communities, or you'll remain here and continue to build. And I want you to never forget about the strong builders. You are strong builders, and you're equipped to fix each other's crowns, to lift up voices that are faint or unheard, and to build capacity. You've practiced that during your time on loan to us in this community, and now I want you to go forth and stand in the gaps that you notice and make sure that they remain filled. Education can be the cornerstone of progress, but an actively engaged learner can progress and bring light into very dark spaces. I'm so proud of each and every one of you, and I look forward to our continued work together, whether near or far. Blessings to each of you.
ACS class of 2020. Congratulations, guys. You did it. Of course, we all knew you would. These are unprecedented times, and there'll never be another graduation quite like yours. Wear it like a badge, I guess. I wish you the best. I'm sure you'll all be successful at what you choose to do, and you can always count on LACS being there for you. All right, best of luck. Peace out.
Hey, seniors. Hi, how are you? Glad to be with you tonight. When I got invited to come to your graduation and say a few words to you, I thought about who you were as a whole group. And when I saw your list of names, my thought was, oh my gosh, these are some of my favorite people. So it's truly special to be with you tonight. I got to know many of you in lots of different ways. I had chats with lots of you in the hallways. Some of you would come in and visit me regularly in my office and chat me up. I saw many of you in many, many wonderful drama and musical productions. I got to see some of you do your PBATs, so it feels really special for me to be here with you tonight. I've been thinking about you very much, and who you are as individuals, but who you are as a group as well. And one thought I had is that you were born right after September 11th, most of you, in the months and the year following that tragic event. And that's had a big impact on your life. It's really shaped who you are as people in more ways than you can even imagine right now. But as you grow, enter adulthood, you'll be feeling that more and more. And then here you are, bookended on the other end of your school years in the midst of this pandemic, which has upended our lives and really has many big changes for us in the future as well. So those are big, big life events. The other big life event, I was thinking about a quote, a lyric by Leonard Cohen that says, "There is a crack in everything. That's how the light gets in." And this light that's shining for us right now, for all of us, on racial injustice and has caused a huge crack in our society is both terrible and a beautiful thing because of the possibility, the real possibility that lies before us for change that affects all of us, and especially you as you're moving out into the world as adults, choosing your pathways forward. And the final thing I wanted to say to you is another quote by a favorite author, Bell Hooks, who said, "Love is an action. It is never just a feeling." So that's what I wish for you. Go forth strongly, go forth bravely, go forth with courage, go forth with love, whatever you choose to do next. And I love you, and thank you for letting me be with you tonight. Bye-bye.
Hi, everybody. The world is turned upside down by a global pandemic. Now, I'll be honest with you. The disappointments of missing a live graduation, those will pass pretty quick. But what remains true is that your graduation marks your passage into adulthood, the time when you begin to take charge of your own life. It's when you get to decide what's important to you, the kind of career you want to pursue, who you want to build a family with, the values you want to live by. And given the current state of the world, that may be kind of scary, but I hope it's also inspiring. With all the challenges this country faces right now, nobody can tell you, "No, you're too young to understand," or "This is how it's always been done." Because with so much uncertainty, with everything suddenly up for grabs, this is your generation's world to shape. But the truth is, you don't need us to tell you what to do, because in so many ways, you've already started to lead. Congratulations, class of 2020. Keep making us proud.
Hello. Greetings, class of 2020. I want you to know what a sacrifice this is for me to do this, because I absolutely hate this sort of recording of self. Anyway, congratulations on all that you've accomplished. I'm sorry I couldn't see you do what you've done over the last 2 years, but you're a really special group, and I miss you guys. I love you. I wish you the absolute best in all that you do. And make it count. Take care of yourselves. I'll see you guys soon, hopefully.
Congratulations to the class of 2020. This is a huge accomplishment and a major rite of passage, and it's really unfair that you guys don't get to celebrate in the traditional way. So alongside your entire community, I just want to say that I'm very, very proud of each of you. My name is Maddie Walsh, and I'm with the band Maddie Walsh and the Blind Spots based in Ithaca. And I would like to sing for you a song that I sang a long time ago at my own graduation. That day I was accompanied by my dad, Ted Walsh, on guitar, so he's accompanying me again. And also on my left I've got Mike Suave of the Blind Spots and my partner in all things. I feel really honored to get to be a part of this virtual graduation and get a chance to wish you all a beautiful journey wherever that may be from here, and just want to let you know that you always have a place to call home.
Took my love and I took it down. Climbed a mountain and I turned around, and I saw my reflection in the snow-covered hills where the landslide brought me down. Oh, mirror in the sky, what is love? Can the child within my heart rise above? Can I sail through the changing ocean tides? Can I handle the seasons of my life? I don't know. Well, I've been afraid of changing, 'cause I built my life around you. But time makes you bolder, children get older, and I'm getting older too. So well, I've been afraid of changing, 'cause I built my life around you. But time makes you bolder, even children get older, and I'm getting older too. Said I'm getting older too. So take this love, take it down. Oh, if you climb a mountain and you turn around, and if you see my reflection in the snow-covered hills where the landslide brought me down, and if you see my reflection in the snow-covered hills, well, maybe the landslide will bring you down. Well, the landslide will bring you down.
But for now, why don't you...
Hi, I'm humanities teacher Lexi Hartley, and I have the honor of presenting Julia Amos. Julia, the author F. Scott Fitzgerald once said, "The test of a first-rate intelligence is the ability to hold two opposite ideas in mind at the same time and still retain your ability to function." You display this in every way. First, you are a history teacher's dream. Every day last year, you brought in copies of magazines from the 1940s and earlier that you found in your grandfather's attic to read before school. You'd have a different magazine every day with a different observation, insights on gender roles, the art styles, and connections to your classes. You are transcribing a 100-year-old diary just for funsies, and sometimes you push deadlines because you go down research rabbit holes. Yet you also love visiting the bog with your ecology class, blowing things up in science classes with Gina, and most importantly, painting out in the sun at fall retreat with your closest friends. There are many words to describe you, but first and foremost, you are curious. You've shown your competing interests in myriad different activities, volunteering at the SPCA, TAing an English class, and working at the youth farm, always out of a passion to try something new. While Bronwyn and John wax poetic about your nuanced writing and your lively contributions to class discussions, Chris Martin can say the same thing about your work in math. Interestingly, your best qualities are often in direct opposition with one another. You're thoughtful, yet fun. Open-minded, yet firmly principled in social justice. Community-focused, yet independent. Determined and ambitious, yet creative. Curious, yet disciplined. You succeed on Fitzgerald's test. You're an awesome paradox, a true Renaissance woman. Yet, if we focus on the past, we lose sight of how our school has benefited because you are here now. In an age of increasing isolation, you're a devoted friend who makes ripples with your kindness and support. You're a quiet leader in our school community who has made a profound impact for mental health and wellness and engaging in school democracy. And in this age of environmental justice, the present offers so many opportunities for you to make the world a better place. Next year, you'll be taking a gap year and renting an apartment with your best friend from LACS. As you note, you might eventually become a historian, or you might become a farmer, or you'll probably become some combination of that and so much more. No matter what you do, keep on exploring dusty old attics and antique stores for treasures, and keep on finding ways to spend time outside. More importantly, however, keep on looking for ways to share your kindness, and above all, stay curious.
I would like to introduce Alana Crabe. Alana, made of steel and verse and intellect. You hold your people accountable, but no one person more accountable than yourself. You prize radical notions and the genuine collaboration of anarchist spaces, and you model the capacity to give. You seek no praise that I have ever witnessed. You work into the night in the theater, out of love for the craft, your collaborators, and the legacy of your mentors. Throughout high school, your gifts were distinguished as an actor and director. This year, as artistic director of the LACS student-led Shakespeare Company, the fall production of As You Like It was your senior project. Last year, the company pulled off a queer adaptation of Romeo and Juliet, and you were Juliet. Your intense performance of Ophelia in Hamlet a few years back wasn't just a turning point in finding the incredible force within you, as Caitlin Mallory put it. Caitlin also referred to you as an actual human ray of sunshine, by the way. She continued, it was this moment of unleashing. In the middle of Tech Week, quote, when everyone was tired and the show wasn't clicking, you walked on stage, and from the second you entered, Ophelia was there. And what you brought turned the entire production around. You summoned power, changing the fate of that show, because you understand that people don't need another speech. Doing is leading. Your Ophelia became a touchstone for an unexpected personal power, too, one you might summon at any moment. I have seen you confront bullies, calmly and kindly. I have seen you sing in perfect three-part harmony. Your writing is filled with heart and scrutiny. You grapple and name. You scribe your love into matrilineal poetry. In presenting a deeply sourced research paper about the exploitation and fetishization of Hawaiian women during the course of U.S. annexation, you lambasted the imperialist gaze and longstanding human cost of racist tourism propaganda. You stare down a complex thing and return to describe it with clarity and eloquence. John Raymond wrote, quote, "I come away from reading some of your pieces feeling rattled, energized, and intellectually and emotionally challenged. You are a writer who relishes language, storytelling, and the unadulterated joy of creation," unquote. And not just in English, you are bilingual. One of the first students in our school to earn the New York State Seal of Biliteracy. Alana, you may well change the world with your pen, but even as you do, you would never hide behind it. The single response available to you when asked to show up on someone else's behalf is to show up. Throughout high school, you have dedicated yourself to service, activism, and an unflinching reflection on both. Never to be self-congratulatory, always to listen, to do your research, to check yourself, to lead by example with integrity. You have been a part of or led every social justice committee in our school. Your 60 hours of community service long surpassed. This year you joined the year-long service class and family group. It is in talking about this work, even more than a monologue under the floodlights or coaching text from a director's chair, even beyond protesting into being arrested in defense of Indigenous water rights, laying aside even your intellectual rigor, it is in describing how much you just like the quiet, daily work of helping people and making change where you are luminous. You embody that hopeful idea of scale, that if 1,000 people make the choice to do even small right things, more and wilder change is possible than we can imagine, even in the face of seemingly intractable injustices. The momentum of your integrity is that at any given moment, if others in the world should listen and act and imagine and defend as you do, therein lies hope, your power, and a measure of real grace for our times. Best of luck to you as you enter the incoming class at Sarah Lawrence College in the fall.
Sean Norton, please step up. Somewhere in ancient Binghamton, deep within its darkened streets, they say there lives the Nut Man. The Nut Man sells peanuts, cashews, almonds, and other nuts from an amazing little shop filled with trinkets and curios from the many, many decades that Nut Man has been in business. For years, Sean told us about this mysterious and legendary figure known as the Nut Man of Binghamton. And I will admit that I kind of didn't believe him. It sounded kind of preposterous. But Sean told us that he was good friends with the Nut Man and that he had worked at the shop. So lo and behold, last year, the mock trial team went to the regional competition in Binghamton, and during a break between rounds, Sean led us all through the city's streets to the Nut Man, where a dozen teenagers and me, dressed in business suits and carrying briefcases, crowded into the tiny shop, and Sean went behind the counter and gave us out free bags of peanuts and almonds and other nuts. So why this story? Because Sean's personal college essay that he wrote earlier this year is all about the importance of stories and the gathering of other people's stories. But Sean is graduating from high school today, and this is the time for him to reflect on his own stories that he's gathered over the years and think about the new ones yet to come. The story of Sean is one about being a part of Agenda Committee since 7th grade, of being a confident and enthusiastic leader of all school meeting, of him being instrumental, inspired by Bronwyn's public education and democracy class in helping reinvigorate our democratic systems. But it's also the story about Sean losing the thumb drive with all of Agenda's files contained on it. It is also the story of Sean as captain of the mock trial team, leading us with skill and style to victory at the county competition and to the final round of the regionals, and then contributing to an international incident that rocked the mock trial community to its core. Or so it seemed at the time. It was fine. Sean's stories are about working at the Johnson Art Museum and spending every Thursday morning surrounded by and working with phenomenal artwork in a labyrinth of spare concrete shaped like a giant sewing machine. It's his stories from his trips to New Orleans, every day working on somebody's house, to come home to play cards at the dinner table, to cook with your pals or lounge around out on the porch in the evenings, to walk through Bayou St. John and say hi to everyone sitting out on their stoops, to have alligator hot dogs in the French Quarter or Popeyes across the street from Lester's. It's the love of the story and the experience, to take in the world, to experience things for their own sake, that make Sean who he is. And then there are the stories that Sean will go on to create next, on trips around the United States, on trips to Istanbul and to India, put on hold because of the pandemic, but you'll get there. Stories about pursuing his passion for ceramics and pottery, and about his study of archaeology and art history at Oberlin College, where he'll be going after a gap year. Congratulations, Sean.
I would like to invite Glenn Cullings to the stand. Nice? It's the only thing, said the water rat solemnly, and he leaned forward for his stroke. Believe me, my young friend, there is nothing, absolutely nothing, half so much worth doing as simply messing about in a boat. Wind in the Willows, Kenneth Graham. Glenn, you have a real passion for being in boats, for rowing. Back in 9th grade, you were wary of that 6 to 8 a.m. practice, but 3 years later, you're still at it. For you know that truly nothing is as wonderful. This year, you were team captain, and your coach says, Glenn led by example, putting in hard work every day, leaving it all out on the water or on the erg. Glenn has been a great teammate, always willing to help others, caring about the success and the growth of the whole team. He has competed with the best of the best at the head of the Charles in Boston multiple times, displaying grit and resilience. It was hard to have the season with the rest of the world cut short this year and to wait for the next one. But going back to Wind in the Willows, don't tell the river rat, but maybe it's not the only thing. Your classes and academics have always been a serious endeavor for you. Your teachers describe you as thoughtful, collaborative, a good problem solver with a keen intellect. They remark on your work ethic and your kindness in supporting classmates' learning. Last year, to experiment with other learning environments, you tried some classes at IHS. This year, you earned a spot in the selective New Visions engineering program. And wow, you completed 2 college courses, Physics 211, Mechanics and Heat, and Engineering Your World, where you discovered that connecting structural engineering to the natural world was really intriguing to you. The natural world has always been a draw for you, which is evident in the trips you chose. Rock climbing, biking, canoe trip, which gave you more time on the water, where you were tremendously helpful, skilled, and showed a leadership quality born of earnest focus and calm presence, inviting camaraderie. Glenn, as below calm waters one finds depth, your calm exterior belies your complexity. You play both Celtic and classical violin. Seems like you've always had a job, from food prep to crew leader at the youth farm, where your leadership skills really grew. And then there was theater. You were a masterful Mark with hilarious comedic timing in Addams Family, a very evil Bill Sykes in Oliver, Gad in Joseph and the Amazing Technicolored Dreamcoat, Lyle in Footloose, George in Our Town, Wow. Next year, you will study at TC3 while this virus plays out. Then you'll have a spot at Cornell University if you want it. Time for training, studying, planning what's next. Best of luck on all of it, and tell us what you decide. Congratulations. And that's it for you.
Andrew Anderson Frankel, please come to the stage. Hello. Shortly after getting to know Andrew Anderson Frankel, I learned that he loved the music of Bob Dylan. He wrote his PBAT paper about Dylan, and in mock trial, he makes it a bit of a challenge to work a Dylan quote into his opening statement. So I asked Andrew to talk a little about what it is about Bob Dylan that inspires him. Andrew said, and I'm paraphrasing from memory, that Dylan is not a great guitar player. He's not a great harmonica player. He's not really even a great singer. But none of that matters. He does what he wants. He creates his own thing. He does it his own way. And what results is what's great. I start this speech with this amazing and profound answer because I think it says as much about Andrew as it does about Bob Dylan. Music is very important to Andrew, and he has been deeply inspired by Dara's passion and thrilling teaching style. Much in tune with his explanation about Dylan, Andrew pursues music for its own ends and for the enjoyment of the doing. He played violin at first, but soon found that he loved to play the harmonica. Hearing Andrew talk about playing music is truly amazing. He talks about the meditation of the music and finding a different plane of existence. And it's always about the joy of playing, in the moment, not the end result. Andrew is a founding member of the soon-to-be legendary disco folk jazz fusion band, Keepin' in the Kitchen. But right now they only play graveyards. A few years ago, Andrew put aside playing baseball to join the LACS mock trial team. At the time, he seemed a bit unsure about what he had gotten himself into. His first year, he had an attorney role. There was an overwhelming amount of laws and procedure to know, complex trial objections to remember, tons of facts of the case, all to be put in use in a fast-paced, think-on-your-feet competition in front of a judge. But Andrew approached it all with calm and ease, always seeing the fun in the challenge. Then at the county competition, Andrew stood up for the first time to air an objection. And in that moment, all the nervousness shed away. He stepped into that different plane of existence. Like his playing harmonica with his disco, folk, jazz, fusion band, Andrew saw again that it was not about being technically perfect in every way. It is just about having the confidence to stand up and do it and have fun with doing it. After that, he didn't feel nervous at all anymore. It was like playing music. Andrew didn't know every rule and every law perfectly, but it didn't matter. All the preparation came together holistically when he needed it. The team won at county that year, and they went on to regionals. And Andrew continued with mock trial for the rest of the high school. Last year, he was co-captain, and the team went to regionals again. And this year, he was the team captain. And although the competition was canceled due to the coronavirus, we were going to win. Andrew has a number of colleges he has been accepted to and to choose from, including my alma mater, SUNY New Paltz. His exact plans have to remain flexible because of the pandemic situation, but his hard work and dedication and good nature have left him with many fine choices, whichever one he should choose. Congratulations, Andrew. There's your book and your diploma and a rose, which I guess is over there. Thank you. And then normally I would hug you and shake your hand, and I guess we're not supposed to do that, but
2114, I'll be in my grave, or I will be the oldest man Jesus never saved. Unless there's something I don't know, like where do we come from? Does anybody know? 1914, 100 years ago, people asking questions nobody knows the answers to. Like where do we go? Where do we come from? Does anybody know? But I ain't going nowhere, nowhere in time. I am only here right now. I am yours and you are mine. But sometimes I wonder if stories told are true. We're a part of everything, and I'm a part of you. I am yours and you are mine. But sometimes I wonder if stories told are true. We're part of everything, and I'm a part of you. We're part of everything, and I'm a part of you.
Tonight, I have the incredible honor of introducing our newest high school graduate, Maya Soto. Maya, the Indigenous activist Winona LaDuke once said, being Indian is a combination of things. It's your blood, it's your spirituality, and it is fighting for Indian people. Maya, you too are a combination of many things, or perhaps forces is a better word, for your passion and power have resounded throughout our community and other communities, and will continue to do so. There is no doubt that part of these forces arise from you being, as one of your favorite shirts says, phenomenally Indigenous and from your love of being Taino. There is so much to you, Maya, that it's hard to know where to begin. But I'll start where many things start, with blood. Maya, you are a natural caregiver. It comes through in how you mentor students in the Students of Color Committee or when you carry Bronwyn's sons around the school after the day is over. But most importantly, you are supremely dedicated to your family. Life has thrown a challenge at you that no one, much less a 16-year-old, should have to face. But you have taken on the responsibility of caring for those who have cared for you with poise and grace. Family is everything to you. Next, LaDuke mentioned spirituality. I could go academic and talk about how you explored Indigenous healing practices and pipeline protests in your creative research projects. But Maya, for you, I think faith means more than just being familiar with rituals. You have shown faith in yourself with your ambition. It takes a special determination to graduate high school in 3 years in any circumstances. To pull that off while helping your family, serving as a student leader, living through a global pandemic, and constantly wowing your teachers with your intellect, especially your beautiful writing, is incredible. More importantly, however, you have shown your spirituality through your faith that individuals can make history with your powerful activism. LeDuc's third principle of being Indigenous is fighting for Indian people. And Maya, you are a formidable warrior. Although you have taken on many causes, ranging from speaking at the youth climate strike, which I'm nervous right now, so I can't imagine how you felt on that day, to helping lead agenda committee, your first and foremost fight is for your people. As a ninth grader, you helped Brownwyn create an Indigenous Studies unit in her class. You led the Students of Color Committee, and you helped organize Ithaca's February protest in solidarity with the Wet'suwet'en Nation. Students in Facing History last year told us at the end of the year that your passion was the heart of this class, and I also see it as the heart of your activism. Whether it's making connections between colonization and Palestine in the classroom, or convincing friends who have never ever protested before to join you in the streets, your dedication and drive brings others together and inspires everyone around you. While you will be going to the University of North Dakota in 2021, we're glad that you're spending a gap year in Ithaca. A few weeks ago, you told an underclassman, there comes a point in time and history when our future and livelihoods depend on the actions of individuals. This time is now. Thank you, Maya, for making LACS into a better place. Now it's time for you to go and change the world. And so this is where usually I'd hug you. I have no idea what happens now. Here, let me put on my mask first. Okay. So.
Aaron is an insightful thinker and an intrepid adventurer with a scathing, dry wit. His love runs deep, and it extends to his family, his close friends, and especially to all animals, particularly dogs. Goats are okay too. Some may remember Elsa, a frequent visitor to our building during Aaron's middle school years. His dedication to animals was evident even then, as he spent his free time helping Gina feed and care for this adorable three-legged goat. If you want to share a conversation with Aaron, ask him about Coda, Foxy, or Moose. Or ask him about taking Colby and Teacher down to the gym after school to chase tennis balls, gleefully sliding on the wooden floor and crashing into the padded walls. Or about the time he was on the animal farm trip, sleeping over at Gina's farm. Guess who chose to curl up with Aaron every night? Another LACS trip that was memorable for Aaron was the fishing trip on the St. Lawrence River, when everyone camped out together and helped each other out. Even though his wheelchair was acting up, the atmosphere was relaxed and congenial, and the relationships he formed with Dan and Jason proved to be lasting ones. One thing Aaron appreciates about LACS is the first-name familiarity with teachers and the opportunity for students and staff to interact on a more equal footing. In fact, one can say that Aaron has wisdom beyond his years, and even as a middle schooler was able to connect with adults in a deep and meaningful way, from spending hours with Gina, to joking with Z, to hanging out in the library with Alex. And who can forget Aaron's star turn on Halloween last year, cruising into Utopia Dystopia, a little late, in full Elton John regalia, blasting Sir Elton's I'm Still Standing. Sarah T. is still giggling about it. She was also impressed with Aaron's work on the assignment to come up with one's own concept of utopia. Aaron's was one centered around corgis. No surprises there, but lots of adorableness. Aaron's love of animals inspired him to attend the rigorous animal science program at BOCES, where he both thrived and excelled. There, he was able to cultivate a comprehensive plan to pursue a career as a veterinary receptionist, a goal he hopes to achieve sooner rather than later, depending on the state of the pandemic. Working in a vet's office will give Aaron ample opportunity to interact with a wide variety of animals and their people, all of whom will benefit from the care and compassion they will receive from Aaron. But will he share his blanket with them? Only time will tell. Good luck, Aaron. You're looking through the tissue paper, aren't you?
It is my joy and my honor to celebrate Mina today. She is civically engaged, a conscientious student, stellar athlete, curious and independent human. Some even say Mina is in a league of her own. Mina, in your time at LACS, some clear and consistent themes have emerged. Everyone recognizes you for your academic diligence. You are always on top of your assignments. But even beyond that, Michael Nardi describes you as a meticulous editor and talented writer, a skill developed through perseverance and revision. In seeking feedback and making improvements, your work is elevated and outstanding. This is reflected in your mother, Sherry, sharing her own writing with you as a peer. Your own creative efforts reflect how close you are with your family. You chose your father as the subject of your Movers and Shakers project and photo, and wrote about your connection to your grandmother and your Jewish identity in an essay for college. It is clear that your family roots run deep. You are an accomplished athlete, having served as a captain of the Ithaca varsity softball team and dedicating many before-school mornings to Captain's Council for the last 2 years. You have brought attention to the impressive commitment and discipline of other Ithaca athletes at LACS through your senior project, which sought to recognize and celebrate them, and have encouraged girls at our school to find their athletic identities in your Inclusive Girls Sports Project. During this time of social distancing and isolation, you've become a long-distance bicyclist and taken up a new sport, golf. You have also previously achieved belay certification, fearlessly climbing to the top of the rock wall at Cornell, leading the way in the rock climbing project. You have also led our school democracy through your participation in Agenda Committee. You say that you prefer to listen rather than trying to push others towards a decision. Seeking others' perspectives is an essential skill of democratic participation. You are able to rise to the occasion of leading school-wide meetings, even if it makes your heart race. And you are proud to have already cast your vote in an actual non-LACS election. Although you prefer to participate passively, a hallmark of you as a learner is recognizing when something makes you uncomfortable and taking time to process and address that. Whether it's speaking in front of the school or the facing bias exploration that grew out of recognizing your privilege while serving at a local food pantry, you are highly self-aware and always find some way to push yourself out of your comfort zone. Next year, you will leave upstate New York for the University of Colorado Boulder, another example of how you explore the unfamiliar. We all know that you will continue to excel academically as you have enjoyed and thrived under the independence of LACS. From the rock wall at Cornell to the Rocky Mountains, we wish you the best. And then, congratulations, Mina.
I would like to welcome Magda Smith to her graduation. Magda, when teachers were asked to give their thoughts and feelings about you, there was definitely a theme to the sentiments that came forth. Bravery. You've brought your powerful intellect to our community. Students and staff have both felt the force of your insights. Even during conversations in the hallway, we were impressed with the strengths of your conviction, your use of logic, the technical precision with which you laid out and defended your arguments and points of view. Many people have grown in admiration of your character and your style. The intellectual stamina it takes to keep up with you can be exhausting, and yet you keep pace with grace and unfettered poise. More importantly, you set high expectations for your conversations. And also, in addition to bravery, there's another theme here. You set high standards for your life, a standard that has brought you not only an unfathomable amount of accolades and awards, but also the insight and wisdom that comes with doing that work. As a part of your academic career, you homeschooled yourself with courses from Ivy League institutions. That kind of self-directed learning defines you. Setting that standard requires bravery. Bravery in striving for perfection, and bravery to assert your position on things even when they're not popular. In doing so, you are like so many other folks that have braved contentious positions for the greater good. Has anyone here heard of Thomas Sowell? You're exactly the type of person we want in our corner, Magda. I'll leave you now with this quote from Thomas Sowell. Quote, "When you want to help other people, tell them the truth. When you want to help yourself, tell them what they want to hear. Soul may be on target with the first part, but you, being the intellectual and logical thinker that you are, can see the flaws in the second statement. You present your open mind and your true self as forthrightly as you can, and we are all better for it. Onward, Magda, as you go on to be part of the Cornell class of 2024. Congratulations.
Okay, Amanda Ray Santana. Amanda brings new meaning to the term three siblings. Sure, lots of families have 3 children, but are they triplets? This unique fact was an exceptional beginning for Amanda and gave her a perspective few share. She has been a star at LACS, marching to the beat of her own drum, and continues to shine. Her leadership and mature presence have been an asset to LACS. She has shown others how to navigate and negotiate the trauma and drama of being in LACS for the full 7 years with style and grace. Many young peers turned to Amanda for her wisdom and guidance. She accepted this challenge, knowing how important this was, but she still found ways to put her own needs first. When the aquamarine trip to Ocean City was almost canceled, Amanda stepped in and stepped up. She rallied the students by coordinating fundraising and putting in the overtime work necessary to make this whole thing come together. During the trip, she even got a sunburn, but still remained positive and attended every outing, never complaining. She blossomed, taking her behind-the-scenes work and stepping up front and center by co-leading a workshop entitled Her Story. During the last year's Infusion Week, finding leadership amongst students of color and joining the agenda committee to be sure that she was seen and heard. Amanda had many obstacles she overcame over the years, personally, academically, and socially. She faced each of them head-on, advocating for her needs along the way and putting herself in uncomfortable situations to clear the air. Watching her grow and seeing her success come to light was a powerful transformation any educator would be proud to witness. While most people were daunted by the COVID-19 virus, Amanda thrived. Amanda's dedication to her own education is one to be noted. She even stayed up 24 hours after her trip to be sure she was present in school the following day. She made a goal and achieved it, and did what was necessary to meet all of her requirements to graduate. She helped as she could and remained true to her values while gaining and perfecting new skills. Have you seen her YouTube channel work? Amanda brings light and laughter to all that come in her contact by making everyone feel seen, loved, and important. Amanda has been developing her craft as a stand-up comedian, incorporating the spirit of her favorite comedian, Andy Kaufman. She has taken risks over the past few years and put herself in front of an audience of her peers and loved ones to entertain and delight them. Amanda is a genuine soul. She sees the best in people and brings the best out of people. The world is definitely a better place with her in it. Amanda, as you go on to continue your academic pursuits at TC3 and beyond to further your education, your parents encourage you to leave all of your options open and set yourself up to excel in whatever you do. Amanda, never forget, please know that your family, friends, and staff members here at LACS love you with all that we have, and we're so proud of you and your accomplishments. We will always be here if you need reminding of how amazing you are. Your energy, nicknames, and Lego hands will be missed in the upcoming years. Congratulations, we're so proud of you.
just wanted to say a word to the graduates of 2020. We wish you all the best. It is a little special, a little different this year, but it's going to be great. All the best to you from Dave and Judy here in Wisconsin.
How many roads must a man walk down before you call him a man? Yes, and how many seas must a white dove sail before she sleeps in the sand? Yes, and how many times must cannonballs fly before they're forever banned? The answer, my friend, blowing in the wind. The answer is blowing in the wind. How many times must a man look up before he'd see the sky? Yes, and how many ears must one man have before he hears people cry? Yes, and how many times can a man turn his head pretending he just doesn't see? The answer, my friend, blowing in the wind. The answer is blowing in the wind. How many years can a mountain exist before it's washed to the sea? How many years can some people exist before they're